Hi, beautiful souls. Happy full moon in Capricorn. I hope that the energies have been serving you well. And I'm excited to talk about this full moon in Capricorn. All full moons are exciting, but I feel like this one is especially so for a few different reasons. The first one is at the end of a lot of my videos, we do a meditation so that you can personally connect to each of the moons, whether it's a new moon or full moon. And really you can personally connect to the cosmos no matter what day of the year, whether it's a special moon phase or not. But we do it together on new moons and full moons predominantly. And so meditation is a really key component, and it's really important for me to work with you guys on connecting to the cosmos individually, because of course there's going to be a lot of information out there and a lot of different interpretations out there, and they're all really valuable, but connecting to it personally is especially important. So for example, with this Capricorn full moon, there's a lot of information out there regarding the tensions that are happening in the cosmos. So you might hear that there is a push-pull kind of relationship between your career life, for example, your public life, your reputation versus your home life, your family life, because of an opposition in the sky. You may also hear that there's some tensions out there because of some squares that are in the sky. And then of course we have Mercury retrograde, which basically happened, I believe, on the same day as this full moon, which adds another layer. But despite that information on the tensions, and while a lot of that information is, it makes sense, it's what's in the cosmos, and you may feel those push and pulls in your own life and recognize how it does impact you. I don't really think that's really the important message for this full moon in Capricorn. And when you connect individually yourself to the full moon, these tidbits or this information that you get about tensions, for example, it's still there, it's still relevant, but you connect more deeply in terms of what that means for you and how you can work with it. Because I actually think that those oppositions and those squares and those tensions actually are where the healing is going to be, and where the power and magic actually is, which we're going to talk about. So that's why I'm really excited, is because this is a time where the meditation is going to be really crucial, especially important. And also with this Capricorn full moon, this is a really important time for introspection and meditation just in general, because it is a full moon, and so there are going to be a lot of shadows that naturally come up. And when that happens, it causes us to have to look inwards at ourselves and to have to reflect on what's going on. What are these things that have been underneath the surface that maybe we could have realized and worked on previously, but we just pushed to the side? Or they were really under that surface, and so even if we wanted to or had the time to, we wouldn't be able to work on those things because they weren't really brought up to the surface just yet. And now, because the moon is illuminated in the sky, because it's a full moon, we can see it in all of its glory. Also, with Mercury retrograde happening at the same time, Mercury retrograde, anytime there is a retrograde, you often want to put the word or the letters RE in front of different action words. So especially with Mercury retrogrades, that means that it's an important time to review, reassess, reevaluate, recommit. And whenever we are something, that means that we have to reflect on what's going on. We have to assess where we really are so we can recommit to something. We have to take stock of what's been going on and step back and reassess. And so Mercury retrograde adds another reason why this full moon is really so potent when it comes to meditation and introspection. And so then add in another layer on top of that. Right now, the moon is at its farthest point in the orbit that it can be. And so the moon is going to be a little bit smaller than it usually is, but when we are smaller and we're at our farthest point, we're looking back. We're no longer in the moment. We've taken a step back, and when we do that, it gives us the opportunity to see things from a different angle, from a broader perspective, and to reevaluate. And when we're not caught up in the moment, when we're not up close to something, that's when we can really reflect and look at what's really going on. And one of the best ways to reflect is to meditate. One of the most common ways to reflect and to introspect is to meditate. So that is why I think that this is an especially potent time to meditate, and why I'm super excited about that, because that's what we're going to do at the end, like we do in a lot of my videos. Okay, So let's talk about these tensions and the value that actually exists in them. So one of the reasons why there is this talk about tensions is because whenever there is a full moon, there is a natural opposition that's happening. In order for the moon to be lit up in the sky like that, and what a full moon means is that the moon is directly opposite the sun. So the moon is in Capricorn and the sun is in Cancer. And so there is this opposition that's happening between what wants to surface up from beneath us inside our subconscious regarding our inner world, because the moon is about our inner world and that connection. Which is why, kind of stepping away for a second, which is why it can be so potent to work with moons. Now, again, you can work with the cosmos or any energies that you want any day of the year, any day of the week, any time. It's always going to be super potent. But the reason why there's a lot of focus on new moons and full moons is because the moon is our inner world. It's what goes on inside. It's those shadows. And when the moon, the inner world, is at very pivotal moments, peaks and ebbs and flows, like full moons and new moons, it really lights up the chart. It really lights up the sky. And so all of the other planets are now kind of connecting to that moon. And that moon is kind of emphasizing everything else that's happening in the chart, which is why there tends to be a lot of focus around that. Sorry for my little puppy. He is enjoying himself, I guess. So that is why it's really potent to work with moons. So we're talking about the opposition that's in the sky. Now, a lot of times when we talk about the opposition, that's where we have that push-pull tension that gets discussed, which is the moon is in Capricorn right now, which tends to be about career, reputation, public persona. The sun is opposite it in Cancer, which is about family, home, nurturing, etc. However, despite there being an opposition, what I'm really finding is that that is where the medicine really lies, because what is in the opposite is the healing. So whenever you think about yin and yang energy, the yin is within the yang and the yang is within the yin. And you can't have one without the other, and they're connected and they serve each other and they help each other and they balance each other out. And it's the same thing when it comes to astrological charts. So if you are having some tensions in your life, if you're having this scattered feeling when it comes to any area of your life, but maybe especially when it comes to career, this is a time that's really important for you to lean into the Cancer energy. Lean into the nurturing, loving moon energy. And so this is an important time for you to connect to how can you fill up your own cup? How can you give yourself what you may feel like is currently lacking in your life? How can you give that to yourself so that you feel really whole and complete? And so if you do feel scattered in your career life, for example, that nurturing, that calming calms your nervous system and then starts to give you clarity around those areas of your life. It just starts to happen naturally. Now, before we get into the rest of this video, we're going to be talking about that inner meditation. That's what we're going to focus on, is how can we nurture ourselves and give ourselves what we really need. And that might seem very broad or not specific enough when it comes to working with moon energy. You might feel like, well, if we're supposed to set intentions, or if we're supposed to be grateful, or, however you work with the moon, shouldn't it be more specific than that? And the answer is, if there are specifics called within you, then yes. But don't overlook, don't devalue these more general kinds of foci, because when we're focusing on something like that, it's at a very, very root level. And so it can seem very vague, but that root is the foundation. And when you heal that root, when you give yourself what you need based off of the energy right now, then that heals you at that base level, that foundation level. And then that starts to seep up into other areas of your life. I'm so sorry. I've had some technological issues. As you can imagine, with Mercury retrograde, I've had a lot of them. But today specifically, I was filming on my phone because I'm still trying to get a laptop. And I ran out of space. So I tried to delete a bunch of stuff that didn't work. So So I decided to do this in a live format, and because it's live, I can't pause this to let my little doggo out. And so here we are. Here we are. Okay, moving on. I'll just pet him. Just pet him. He's calming down now. Hi, baby. Hi. All right. So, we were talking about calming energy and why it's important and why that foundation energy can be so valuable to work with, even though it seems really basic, but we want to clear out that root. And you will be really surprised by the kinds of blessings that come as a result, the kinds of magic that comes as a result, how things start to kind of figure themselves out, or problems that you had start to go away. Now, it might not happen today. It might not happen in the next few days. You will get some kind of response back from the universe within 3 days that shows you that something that you did in this meditation was impactful, whether you're conscious of the manifestation guidance or not. Either way, you're going to be getting the blessings. It's going to happen subconsciously, consciously, a whole bunch of different ways. So you will within 3 days get like confirmation in some way from your guides. But in terms of the actual like magic happening, it could happen today, it could happen in 3 days, but more likely it's going to happen over the next few weeks. You'll look back and be like, you know, it's really interesting, but things started to change. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. All right, so what is another tension that is occurring right now? So there is a square between this moon and Neptune and Aries. Neptune and Saturn that are both in Aries. So there is this kind of idea out there that there's a tension in terms of practicality and the action that you want to take. And to me, I don't feel like there's necessarily a tension. To be honest, my feel is that in the energy, there is actually more of a breakthrough. There's actually more clarity that's starting to happen right now as a result of the full moon. So you may find yourself starting to think about how you can be more actionable about things, how you can take in information and do something with it instead of just taking it in and forgetting about it, taking it in, getting inundated by it. There is this movement of energy that is wanting to happen now. So, you know, maybe if you're going to a conference, maybe if you're listening to a bunch of webinars, maybe if you are talking to different friends in your networking group, and lots of different situations, you might be receiving a lot of information. Maybe if you're watching YouTube videos and you find that you're watching a lot of them, now you're going to start getting into this mode of, okay, what are the main takeaways that I'm getting from this? Or what are the notes that I've taken today based off of this? You know, maybe you wrote a bunch of notes and there's more than just 3 takeaways. But as you go through you're going to start going through your notes and you're going to start being like, you know what, I can make this actionable by doing this. And when it comes to actionability, a lot of times we want to take action, but we forget to do it. And so you're going to start thinking about, not only am I going to take action, it's going to be triggered by this event. You know, at this time every day, that's when I'm going to do this. I've now set a time and it's going to happen and it's actionable. Whenever this event occurs, that's going to trigger me doing this thing. So there's going to be a lot more planning that's starting to happen now. So that's pretty exciting as well. Okay. I think those are the main points that I wanted to bring up. Okay, so now let's get into the meditation. Let's see, just making sure everything is still recording. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna do this a quick one today. Let's get started. All right, so close your eyes. And take in some deep breaths. Feeling your mind start to relax. Feeling it start to slow down. Feeling the tension in your shoulders starting to release. starting to feel this gentle, positive weight in your lower body, just grounding you. Grounding you in your body and grounding you in this present moment. And feeling this pink light start to radiate in your heart chakra. Getting bigger with every inhale and getting stronger with every exhale. And watching as that pink light starts to travel up and down your spine, going from your tailbone all the way up to the top of your head. Breathing in that light and exhaling it out into your entire auric field. Creating this pink bubble energy all around you. Feeling the energy of the Capricorn full moon. Feeling it in your auric field, the energy mixing with the pink energy. And now asking the Capricorn full moon please show me how I can care for myself more deeply. Please guide me to providing for myself what I need most. Allow it to come to me through ideas, inspiration, maybe seeing how someone else loves himself, or through others shining their love upon me. I am open to connecting with my worthiness in whatever way, whatever avenue, whatever path you provide it through. And feeling that love for yourself, worthiness, wholeness. Just feeling all of that from the full moon, from the divine pink energy surrounding you. Just soaking it up. Letting it completely fill up your auric field, your entire body, all of your cells, your DNA. Allowing it to clear anywhere where you don't feel that worthiness, clearing the root, and filling it with love. And allowing your auric field, now filled with love and worthiness, to radiate out and impact and bless anyone and everyone that crosses your path. Activating their own sense of worthiness, their own sense of love, their own sense of peace. Just sitting here for a moment, soaking it in. When you're ready, open your eyes. So, the really powerful thing about worthiness is it seems really simple and it seems really basic, but it's actually really, really powerful. And the reason why is because a lot of times when we're trying to manifest, which is a common thing that people like to do when it comes to new moons and full moons, is manifest. It can be really important to know where that manifestation, where that desire is coming from. Especially if you're trying to manifest something and there are a lot of blockages or you're not really able to figure it out and you're doing all the right things. It can be really helpful to reassess the why, to really reflect on the why. Why am I asking for this? What is the thing that I feel like I'm going to get out of this desire? Because a lot of times we can be asking for something because we feel like we've been down this path this long and now it's become a goal that maybe we want it or not, but because we've been after it so long, it's this goal, and if we don't achieve it, it feels like we failed. Or it feels like we're on this path and we just have to continue until we can check it off. Sometimes we can be manifesting something because we feel like we need to prove something, either to ourselves, like if I can manifest this, then that means that I'm powerful. That means I can manifest anything, and that's why it must be this thing. Or we feel like, I talk about manifestation and I have to prove it to other people. Or, maybe we want something because we feel like only when we get that can we feel validated, can we feel worthy. And so it's really important to connect to our worthiness, connect to our wholeness, so that whenever we are asking for something, we're asking for it because it feels in alignment, or because we know that it truly in itself would bring us happiness and joy. It would bring me happiness because then this person would believe in me, or because then it would show that this person really loves me, or because then it would show that I'm actually lovable or worth, being with, or whatever it is. Or, it'll just get me something other than the joy of having the thing itself. So that's why this is a really, really important time to reflect. And, Capricorn can be really about getting goals, right? Going after goals. And so are you manifesting something or wanting something because you've been on this trajectory long enough to where it's just this thing that you're going after, and you need to actually reflect on whether it's something that you still want and still makes sense for you, or if it needs to be tweaked or leveled up or scrapped entirely for something that actually makes a lot more sense. And, sometimes that can feel like a failure, but we are changing and evolving. What you wanted 10 years ago when you were a teen, let's say, or in your 20s, is going to be very different from what you want when you're in your 30s or in your 40s. Because you've learned a lot and you've evolved and you've matured. And so the things that you want now and go after now should reflect that. And sometimes we're not conscious of those shadows until we are given the opportunity, for example, with a full moon, to really take that moment to reflect and reassess. So I'm going to leave it here. I hope that this served you. And you may be seeing some content from me regarding dragons because they have been coming through. They've actually been coming through to me they've actually been my guides for 15 years. Like almost as soon as I started very consciously working with guides, they've always been there. So I've been working with them for a very long time. And every few years I would get this, you should create a dragon course. And I was looking around, I wasn't looking around recently, but over the years, every once in a while I'll look around and be like, oh yeah, like 3 years ago, I wrote that I should do this on a Post-it note. Oh, like 2 years ago, I wrote this down in my journal. Oh, 5 years ago, So, but I never really had the pieces. I never really had the clarity of what that was going to be. And now that's really been coming through very clearly. So you may see a lot more of that coming from me, and that's why, it's because they're wanting to come through. I think this is a really, really important time. The dragons are a mythical creature, or that's how we perceive them to be. But they've been around a lot of cultures. They've shown up here and there. And while we can explain it away by other creatures like lizards or dinosaurs or, different things like that, there is still this truth to it, and there's more to it. And there's a lot of content coming up regarding dragons. And my connection with them is that, like a lot of the Fae realm, they were here and we had a really good relationship with them, and then a lot of deception happened. And I don't think deception and propaganda is a surprise in this day and age, right? There's a lot of that can shift personas. It can make you fear something, hate something, go after something, want to destroy something. And that is essentially what happened with the dragons, and they no longer wanted to work with us. That's not how they would put it, but naturally they were like, we're going to go into our other dimension. And so they became just this myth. And they're ready to work with us again. We're in this time of awakening, and we're in a very pivotal time. So they're really, really calling forth. And so I think there's going to be a lot of really exciting things to share with them. We're going to go deeper and deeper with them. And I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much. Love you. Catch you in the next one.